Hi everyone, welcome to the best recapped movie. Resident Evil, the final chapter is the last movie of this series, which was made in 2016 and is an action and horror film. In this episode, we will talk about this exciting and beautiful movie. After the events in Washington, Albert Wesker gathered the entire forces of the Umbrella Corporation in a final attack against the apocalypse survivors and betrayed Alice and her friends. Now Alice realizes she can end these disasters and tries to keep the survivors alive. Spoilers ahead. She narrates the history of Umbrella Corporation when a scientist named Marcus had a daughter named Alicia who was suffering from a premature aging disease such that at the age of 25, she would become a 90-year-old woman, so he decided to create a cure for his daughter. While he was desperate to make a cure, he saved his daughter's voice for posterity. Finally, he succeeded in making the T-virus in such a way that this virus led to the treatment of not only Alicia but thousands of other diseases. But no one knew about the side effects of this disease, and thus, a little boy became the first zombie to cause its outbreak. After these events, Marcus had severe differences with his business partner. Dr. Isaacs was the one who, with the help of his subordinate Wesker, killed Marcus for this opposition and had a plan to further spread this disease and destroy the world. Isaacs invented a powerful artificial intelligence using Alicia's recorded data and named it the Red Queen. After that, it was 10 years ago, the T-virus spread in Raccoon City in an underground called the Hive, which forced the US government to use a nuclear bomb to destroy it. Finally, the survivors came together in Washington, D.C., to stand against this disaster, but it was all a trap. Back to the present, after the destruction of Washington, Alice comes out of an underground hiding place and is thirsty to drink some water. Still, a giant zombie that was closed underwater attacks her. Fortunately, Alice saves herself, and after that, as she is looking for a weapon, a zombie dragon suddenly emerges from under the rubble to attack her. Alice quickly gets into the car, luckily starts the car, and escapes from the dragon temporarily. The dragon splits the car's roof, and finally, Alice hits the zombie with speed, stops it, and uses the bomb behind the car to destroy it, and Alice herself is thrown after the explosion. Then, a loud alarm sounds from the central speakers, and Alice continues her quest to search the defense equipment and find a clue. In a basement, she sees a printer that types "Hello Alice" one after the other, and a little later, she realizes that it is the Red Queen. The Red Queen says that all the survivors will be destroyed in less than 48 hours and asks Alice to stop it. A zombie that had escaped from her hand came, and with the help of her timely warning, she destroyed that zombie. She explains to Alice that there is a cure that can end all of this in the Hive, and if Alice can't get to it in time, the massacre will be complete.
Why would you help me?
Alice doesn't trust her, but Red Queen says she can't talk about it right now and will when she goes to the Hive. However, she informs Alice that Wesker, who is looking for revenge on him, is there so that she can convince her of this news. She sets Alice's clock and asks her to fix the incident that caused them both to fail 10 years ago.
Alice, make it right.
Alice quickly goes to the Hive, but she has an accident and has to get out of the car. She sees a motorcycle a little ahead, which has the Amberlass logo on it, so she gets suspicious. Then immediately, Umbrella's agents attack her in large numbers and trap her. Still, Alice uses this trap with her unique skills and kills them all. She gets on Umbrella's motorcycle, but as soon as she turns it on, she gets electrocuted and falls unconscious on the ground. When she wakes up, she sees that she has only 20 hours left and also sees some prisoners around her with strange looks who don't say anything. A few minutes later, Isaacs comes, and Alice is surprised because she had killed him before, and she finds out that he was a clone of Isaacs. He says this operation was supposed to be completed 1 year ago, so it was delayed, and after a little conversation, he discovers that Alice has heard about the antivirus story. He ties her to the back of the tank and puts her life in danger because the herd of Zambia is moving quickly behind the tank, and with less than 20 hours left until the massacre, Isaac sarcastically says to Alice, "I doubt you can last this long?" A little later, Alice takes advantage of the negligence of the guards, and after a fight, she manages to knock down 2 of them, who fall prey to the zombies. Isaacs is forced to fight with her personally and attacks Alice with a knife, and after a full-scale fight, she defeats him, and when she holds his neck, she asks him to open her hand. After opening Alice's hands, he attacks her again, and the tanks on the side shoot at her to stop Alice. Seeing the motorcycle, Alice pulls it out of the tank, but Isaacs laughs and tells her that she can't use it, unaware that Alice suddenly cuts off his hand to use it to start the motorcycle, and thus she escapes. Lee, Isaac's right-hand man, is ordered to shoot at her. However, when he targets Alice with volleys and rocket fire, he fails to kill her, and finally, Alice manages to escape. Lee informs Isaacs about her escape, and on the other hand, Alice, who sees that she only has 18 hours, quickly goes to Raccoon City. Wesker orders the Red Queen to activate the Hive's defense system. After reaching Raccoon City, Alice looks around where the Hive has turned into a deep pit after the nuclear explosion. She starts to move on her motorcycle when suddenly, a light from the top of a tower disturbs her vision, and a big rod hits her head and knocks her unconscious. During the anesthesia, she has a disturbed dream. When she regains consciousness, she sees the doctor who wants to inject her with something, but she prevents him. Christian says we should have killed her sooner, and Cobalt asks her to surrender herself, but Alice still holds the doctor's neck until her old friend Claire Redfield comes, and it ends when they meet.
Alice.
Claire tells her she fell here after escaping from the Umbrella agents, and the doctor and the rest of the group saved her. Michael informs that the enemy tanks will arrive soon, and Alice explains that he is Dr. Isaacs, who is arriving with an army from Zambia, and warns them that they must do something. However, Christian is still suspicious of her and thinks she is an alien, and when he wants to kill her, Claire stops him. The doctor asks him to be calm, and Alice warns them again about the dangers of the attack because they have armored tanks and can easily destroy this tower with rocket fire. Suddenly, she gets dizzy and loses control. Alice gets better with the doctor's help, and when Claire comes, she realizes that there is an emotional relationship between her and the doctor. She tells her there is a cure in the Hive that can save the survivors. Claire says that if the antivirus is released, your life will be in danger. However, Alice is ready to die for this because she knows there is no other way. They decide to do this but must fight Isaacs first, so Alice asks them to reveal their weapons. Claire says that the group doesn't have many weapons, but they have enough diesel. On the other hand, Isaacs and Wesker established a video connection and he informs him that he would be there on time. The group prepares to face the enemy, and Alice, in her meeting with Abigail, is surprised by her creativity in making such a weapon. She says that she learned this skill from her father. Isaacs approaches the tower and orders his men not to leave anyone alive. On the other hand, Alice asks the group to close the gate immediately. When she goes to the top of the tower, it seems that zombies are more than what they expected. As the tanks and zombies approach, Alice orders the barrels to light, and the first tank is destroyed by throwing the burning barrel. Isaac frees a survivor, and Alice demands to open the gate. Still, as soon as she approaches the gate, she is shot by Lee. They are forced to close the gate immediately, and the tower is hit by a rocket. Then, a large crowd from zombies pushes the gates down to the tower. Alice asks Claire to fight the zombies, and Cobalt is unfortunately bitten in this conflict. After that, she orders them to pour a large amount of diesel on them so that burning the large amount of fire will destroy the zombies. At the same time, Alice uses this opportunity to destroy Isaacs. She approaches the enemy's main tank and explodes it by pouring diesel into it, but a little later, she sees that Lee is still alive. She defeats him in a tough fight, and then he is locked in a tank to repay what he has done by escaping from zombies. Alice decides to head to the Hive with the group. Christian admits that he was wrong about her, and the religious join her as it becomes clear that Dr. Isaacs is still alive and stalking them. Wesker asks the Red Queen not to automatically control the defense system of the Hive because he intends to take over the defense of the place himself, and on the other hand, Alice and her people, unfortunately, face the attack of infected wild dogs to enter the Hive. They are forced to escape into the lake, and some dogs fall into the water with them. When they get out of the water, Christian is bitten by a dog, and while being shocked, they realize that they have to run away as soon as possible because they are again attacked by dogs. Upon entering the entrance of the Hive station, the dogs stop chasing them and turn back, and Alice informs them that they are sure they are afraid of something. When the walls are close to each other from both sides, a zombie attacks Alice from behind, but Alice manages to save herself. Later, the Red Queen appears and tells Alice she will fulfill her promise to answer her question. She informs that a secret file has been uploaded to her from the top managers of Umbrella, which Isaacs clearly explains in this meeting, that he will destroy the world before it ends with the end of energy, famine, or even the melting of the poles. He is looking for a coordinated apocalypse to keep its resources intact, and Alice realizes that the world's infectious was no accident. The Red Queen says that because she's programmed to care about humans, she's working with her and warns that there are only 37 minutes left for Umbrella to win. Before leaving, she secretly informs Alice that a spy from Umbrella is with her. The The group continues until they come across a huge turbine on the way. After Alice passes it, she asks the others to pass through the turbine quickly, but as soon as they all pass it, Wesker orders the Red Queen to activate the turbine in reverse. Alice and the rest of the group are faced with the danger of the strong suction of the turbine, and despite Alice's great efforts to keep Abigail alive, she cannot resist the power of its suction, and finally, Abigail is killed horribly. Isaac enters the only tank with a guardian from the Umbrella Company, and since the crew does not follow his orders, he kills them all and moves towards the Hive. Alice and her people continue on their way through a large ventilation channel, unaware that they are not safe from Wesker's traps here either, and they fall into one trap after another. She falls to the ground in a dark and terrible laboratory and sees the fragmented and horrible bodies there, and after she finds Michael, it doesn't take long before he is kidnapped and killed by a giant zombie. The scary, sharp-toothed monster shows himself, and Alice knocks it to the ground with consecutive shots to the head, but realizes that she didn't kill him, and as she walks with fear, she sees that the monster is on top of her. She distracts the monster with the light of the flashlight, and by throwing the chain around his neck and body, she kills him. A little later, the doctor joins her, and the Red Queen also warns Wesker that Alice will soon arrive here. Hence, he asks her to wake up the senior managers right now, and on the other hand, Isaac falls into the pit with the tank and is caught by zombies. Claire is also trapped inside a glass prison, and we see Alice and the doctor entering a corridor. Remembering the past, she realizes that this is the deadly laser corridor. After finding the weapons outside, she gives one to the doctor, activates the elevator system, and goes to the main hall. Wesker wakes the original Isaacs, and then he looks at the Red Queen, saying that betrayal has happened. On the other hand, Isaacs, who is outside and seems to be his clone, tries to lead the zombie army to the Hive. Claire makes an explosive device with an amazing trick, uses ordinary tools, and saves herself from there, unaware that Wesker is secretly watching her. Alice and the doctor enter the main hall, and a wheelchair catches her attention. While there are only 9 minutes left, they see Isaacs, who asks them to put down their weapons or else he will destroy the cure he has and force Alice to surrender. It turns out that the doctor is Umbrella's spy, and a little later, Claire, captured by Wesker, sees him and despairs as he warns Alice not to approach the gun. Alice imagines several different plans to kill Isaacs, and Isaacs asks her not to do it or else she will be killed. When he is having a drink, he tells her, "I am the original Isaacs." However, Alice does not believe him. He informs Alice that she is just a clone of the real Alice and tells her that the real Alice is someone else. An older woman enters in a wheelchair, and Isaacs introduces her as Alicia Marcus, who owns most of Umbrella's shares. He says she is like a thorn in his side and will remove this thorn.
I'm not a clone.
Really?
Alice doesn't believe she's a clone, and Isaacs reminds her that she doesn't even know who her parents are because she has no memory. Isaacs tells her that she was made 10 years ago. Alicia warns her that time is running out and she has to kill him, and the Red Queen confirms that she is a clone by revealing the story. Alicia explains to Alice that she is better than her. After that, as a shareholder of Umbrella Company, she fires Wesker, and the Red Queen recognizes him as a civilian and causes the door to land on his feet, killing him. The doctor shoots, but his gun is empty because Alice suspected him earlier and knocks him down with one blow. Isaacs, who is holding the cure, runs away, and Claire decides to kill the doctor with a shot on his head. Alicia warns her that she only has a few more minutes and informs her that with the spread of the antivirus, all creatures with the T-virus in their bodies will be killed. However, Alice, even though she knows she will be killed, accepts this mission and says there is no other way. Alice and Claire go to Isaacs, and Alicia records all her memories by inserting a special lens into her eyes. Isaac shuts down the Red Queen by taking all her powers.
You're all going to die down here.
He sees them, and they enter a full-scale fight on the elevator. After stopping Claire, his fight with Alice is drawn to the laser corridor. After he activating it, Alice, who has already experienced this, runs away from the lasers and saves herself, and after that they fight one more time in the corridor. After a few blows from Alice, it's Isaacs who tires her with his hard blows and, at the same time, holding her hand, directs the laser in such a way as to cut off her fingers. Alice suffers from sores on her fingers, and Isaac tells her that after several confrontations, the fight is over. Alice agrees and throws a safety in front of him with a smile. He looks in his coat pocket and sees a grenade instead of an antivirus in his pocket, and it becomes clear that Alice changed the place of the grenade and antivirus when her finger was cut off. Isaacs, who is dying, says, "I made you," and Alice, while holding the antivirus, says, "You made a mistake." Claire urges her to hurry before time runs out and says, "I'll be right behind you." She quickly moves outside to spread the cure while Isaac is recovering. As soon as she wants to break it to spread the cure, he prevents this. The clone version of Isaac arrives and tells Alice that he has brought an army of zombies here. Still, when he sees the real Isaac, he becomes enraged. He kills him and is immediately bitten in the back by the zombies himself. Time runs out, and there is an explosion in the hive, which burns Alicia inside. Before the zombies arrive, Alice takes the antivirus and throws it on the ground. After breaking it, the zombies die by smelling it. Alice herself, who had the T-virus in her body, falls to the ground, but hours later, it becomes clear that she is not dead, and Claire tells her that you succeeded. She summons the Red Queen, and she explains to her that the antivirus only destroyed the T-virus in her body and did not harm the tissue of the healthy cells. She then explains that Alicia made a copy of all her memories of her life before her death to give her all she never had so she would be happy when she got them. At the movie's end, we see Alice on a motorcycle speeding out of Raccoon City. She says it will take years for the antivirus to reach all parts of the world through the wind, so she emphasizes, "My work is not done until then." Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.